Hey folks, welcome back to GP Reactions. My name is Gail, and this is my channel. And just you know what, I've not been well at all over the last probably since about May, and probably before that. And so I've struggled to get to do reactions. And I had a breathing issue as well, which meant that I didn't have a breath to do it. I've still got a little bit of a breathing issue left, but I've probably gone from like last Monday from about 70% to about 95% now, 90% maybe. So it is getting better, which thank goodness, because I literally thought it was one of those things that I would be stuck with for life, and I was resigned to that, and so thank goodness, praise the Lord above, to that they've this has it appears to be clearing up, so yeah, that's great. Anyway, I just want to thank everybody for sticking with the channel and having faith in me, and it's just good to be back. And it's been beautiful weather as well, and the first time really I've been able to enjoy it this weekend. So that said, it is the 13th of July, and it is 40 years since Live Aid. I watched Live Aid as a kid, as an 18-year-old, and I think I remember recording Live Aid on a cassette tapes from 12 noon till 4 a.m. in the morning. I think I had probably a couple of drinks breaks. I had lots of drinks with me to get me through it, and that's basically what I did. And it was just the most amazing experience for watching music, and I didn't really kind of fully appreciate the gravity of what they were trying to do. Although there were times when that was made very clear, when I think Bob Geldof slammed his hand onto the desk, and I think he swore as well. But I can't remember whether that was just something that's a myth or something. Might have just been a crazy implanted memory or something that he swore. But yeah, it was definitely a hell of a day, and I got to see a lot of my favourite artists at the time, particularly in America, really, because I was following the American charts quite a lot, and it was good to see these people actually performing on stage. And some of them were performing with other artists as well. I think Madonna did a track with the Thompson Twins. Yeah, obviously I had the infamous Phil Collins with Led Zeppelin, Sting with Phil Collins, Sting with Dire Straits. So it's good to see these people getting together. So I'm going to try and do a few Live Aid videos, and I don't hold much hope out for it, but I think if I didn't try on the 40th anniversary, then yeah, that wouldn't be that's what YouTube's about, really, to celebrate these things, to look into them. So, but anyway, I'm going to start with this one. This is a video. It says Colin Dean on the Live Aid Cars video. So yeah, I remember that. I believe David Bowie gave up one of his songs to actually feature this video. So I'm assuming this chap now is somehow involved with it. So let's have a look.
By the time I'd been in Addis about 2 weeks, we had a massive material from the different camps. And we'd been having a meal one night in the hotel. It's very nice to sit and have a steak and a nice bottle of red wine when you've finished a hard day's work. But it begins to play on your mind when people are dying by the thousands a day and you're sitting there. And after dinner, I'd gone back to my room and I was listening to music, as we do. It's the sort of calming influence. And that particular piece of music was on the tape. And for some reason, the lyrics just sort of seemed to become very emotional. And the edit suite was next door. And I sat and started editing using my notes of stuff that we'd been working on. I just started putting pictures to it. But all of a sudden, the lyrics started to, I thought, mean something, although they're taken completely out of context. You look at the picture of a child and you think, well, the lyrics are, who's going to take you home tonight? A child sleeping in its mother's arms. Who's going to pay attention to your dreams? It's an obvious link of vision to lyric, and I can remember sitting in front of the machine crying. That was it. But I had to think, at this stage, have I done something very clever? Or have I done something which is in the most awful bad taste?
Wow. Yeah. Man.
And somebody once told me is that you always sleep on a decision, because I nearly erased it. I nearly hit the big red button and rubbed it out.
You see, my memory of this, as I said, I think it was on a David Bowie set that he introduced the video, and I believe that he did give up one of his songs, and that he was, I don't know what song he would have sung, but this must have been quite last minute that he arranged this, and obviously it's Colin Dean has produced this video, and yeah, do you know what? And you to do something like that, um, you do. I would say, yeah, he did the right thing by sleeping on it, because you have a euphoria when you like. I mean, I used to do a lot of cassette tapes back in the day. It's very amateurish. I had this like little studio thing, and I used to be. I wanted to do. I think it was like 2 years of a news. So I would find news items, and I would just record them relentlessly, and then after that, I mixed them in with music, and I used to think to myself, that's really good. That is, then and then on some of them, I used to think, that's really good, but it's a little bit tasteless. Um, and you kind of get like a little bit of a euphoria. And I only did this the once. Because I used to hate, because I used to record a lot of music from vinyl, and I used to like some of the times for it to be like mixed in with each other, so there's no gaps. Just for the sole purpose of mixtapes, basically, so I could listen to them in a car. Um, so yeah, you'd think something was really you get really euphoric about doing this with music, and putting it over live footage. I think I did one about Princess Diana was being secretly filmed in a gym in London somewhere, and I think I used Blondie's Picture This, and it worked perfectly, but I kind of thought it's yeah, it's a little bit tighter, but it was for my own sort of like listening, so I kind of kept that in. But to actually do something like this and have it then broadcast to millions of people and across the world, I can only imagine the pressure on this engineer to actually take that decision, because if I think if that was to happen now, it would probably, there'd be a lot of emails and complaints. I think people are more sensitive about images being used. And obviously, this was to promote people donating to a charity, but I think at the same time, you would still, have to kind of check with yourself that you're not actually doing something that's going to be really offensive and actually takes away from the charity. So it was a brave decision by him, and I do remember watching this. It was and I think I wasn't emotional when I watched it, except for the moment when they started panning to the crowd, and they were all in tears, and I can feel myself welling up a little bit now just thinking about it. Um, so that the hundreds of thousands. I don't know how many. Don't know how many people there were at Wembley actually. I think there may have been over 100,000 easily. But yeah, a lot of them were crying to this, and it was quite. So that kind of sort of triggers emotion in you then. And yeah, just and to see this Colin Dean, he seems like he's still very emotionally connected to this piece of work that he did. So just wow, it's
Big red button and rubbed it out. But I didn't.
It certainly was a conscience pricker, because there wasn't anybody saying anything.
yeah.
The place just went dead, absolutely dead quiet. It was uncanny.
But even now, you sort of look back and I wonder if these people are still alive, you know, and it's quite sad watching it because they probably aren't.
There is one shot at the end of the item with little girl in arms, and she looks exactly how she was. She was dying, and the
Oh
nuns at the
man.
station, at the feeding station, had said, "We give her a couple of hours. She will die." Anyway, they took her in and put her in the shade and gave her liquids and what have you, and she started to revive. And by the time the crew had left, she was actually beginning to recover. And in March of this year, the CBC crew went
No
back
way.
to do a documentary in Ethiopia, and they found her. They went and found this little girl, and she is now a beautiful child of 12 years old. So it shows that people's donations of aid, no matter how much or how small, they do actually help. It's not wasted. They do help.
Mm.
By the time I'd been
Yeah, that last bit, you know, when they showed that girl, it's that kind of got me a little bit, got me right there. Um, 'Cause I remember that shot, and I didn't know what happened to her. I wonder how she's doing now. So we're about sort of 20, maybe 20, 30 years on. So she'd be in her 40s now. My gosh, yeah, that was quite emotional. I mean, it's not, and this is where when it comes to doing something like this, I think a lot of people at Live Aid, they appeared to be emotionally invested in what they were doing, but there was also another element, I think, which I I see in people's eyes, and it is it, it, it is pure love for other people. And I see a lot of people that go out and do stuff for charity, and it's very cold, very analytic, and they advertise themselves doing it, and I'm sure there is. I don't know. I'm not sure at all that there is love, but um, they do it anyway, and it's all for a good cause. But yeah, but when it, you know, stuff like this, ooh, and just to see his face, needing not laptop over then, and to see, you know, this Colin's face just now, it's obviously it's touched him so deeply, and you know, we forget that. I don't know, man. There's just that. There's a lot of hate and division in the world, and if we just had a bit more love. But yeah, I didn't know this about this. I actually thought it was something maybe David Bowie did. Um, you know, helped to produce at the time. But yeah, it's really really touching, and I'm sure there's other stories behind the scenes. I know a few stories about the musicians and stuff, and but you know, I think there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that would be quite interesting. So anyway, sorry if you was expecting to see a music video, um, but hopefully you found this, you know, a little bit interesting. So yeah, till next time, take care of yourselves and have a wonderful day.